Okay, hello. It's me, Grimlock. Welcome back to the channel. So today, as you'll be able to see by the title, I got first place at my local OTS champion. Well, technically first, technically second place. It is second place. So it was the same record. Five of us went X1. However, because of tiebreakers, I came second place, but my only loss was to the guy who came first, so pretty good overall. Technically, it was second, but you know. But yeah, I played Punk, and no, I didn't play the Gold Pride variant. I think that version is very, very overhyped. I don't think it has as much synergy as people think it does. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit funny, I'm a bit under the weather today. But yeah, I played the Therion version. I think it's got a lot more power. I think it's a lot more consistent. And I just think it has a lot funnier players, which a lot of my opponents agreed with. So we will start with the main deck. So the main deck, instead of doing what I normally do, where I do monsters, spells, then traps, I'm going to do basically the purpose that they serve in the deck, really, as well as the engines. So for starters, we have our first start here, Xiamen. So this and the next 4 cards that I'm going to talk about are one card plus a discard to get you to your full combo. So Xiamen, pay 600 life points, adds a punk monster. If it's sent from field to grave, increases the attack of a punk monster by 600 attack for the turn. It does come up, and it'll be included in one of the 2 combos that I plan on showing at the end of the video. So yeah, very, very good. Level 3 Psychic Tuner. It's an Earth as well, so it's pretty good. So move that up there. Next, we have Foxy Tune. And I might as well show it now. The other one is Ogre Dance, and the final one is E-Telly. So the purpose of these 9 cards is to get you into your Xiamen over here. What Foxy Tune does is it discards itself for cost, and then for effect it discards another card to summon a punk from the deck. Sometimes it's this, or if you've started with this, it'll grab you something else instead. And then Orgadance discards itself for cost, doesn't have to discard anything else, and then it searches, which again is normally this, or an extender, so on. And then E-Telly, well, everyone knows what E-Telly does. These do also share a second effect where they contribute a punk monster in the field to summon themselves. And Foxy 2, they do have other effects on the field as well. I believe Foxy Tunes is if it destroys a monster by battle, gain life points equal to its attack, which is pretty nice for time. And Ogre Dance is when your opponent's monster activates its effects, you can make this card gain an attack equal to its original attack, so that's really, really nice. But yeah, so those are your starters. Those are your 4 main starters, those 12 cards. Moving on now. So for 2 of, we have Shirakuzai. Honestly, I'm tempted to put this up to 3, but I just don't think it really needs to be at 3. I think 2 is fine. So it has 2 effects, one on your turn, one on your opponent's. Both of them are pay 600 to activate. On your turn, it fusion summons. On your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, it synchro summons as well. So it's really, really good. And again, all the level 3s, they're all Psychic Tuners and Earths as well. So they're pretty good for that. And he's got a fairly decent sized body, which comes up for an OTK player. After that, the other 2 of that we play is Deonaut. Really, really cool card. It can reveal another punk monster in your hand, discard either itself or that other punk card to summon the one you didn't discard. So it's a pretty nice extender. It's level 5 as well, so it's got nice levels. But its main effect is when it's sent from field to grave, it can monster reborn back another punk monster, and that's anything. as long as it's not a level 5. But you can summon Deonaut for the rest of the turn. This is normally your summon off either the Deonaut, not the Deonaut, either the summon off the Foxy Toon or off a fusion monster, which I'll talk about when we get the extra deck. And it's 2100 as well, so it's a little bit like a Cyber Dragon. Then we have the one wagon with the 2 Jam Extreme sessions. So this is pay 600 to add a spell, so it adds you one of these if you don't have it already. And then a lot of people like to stop this because they know that the field spell is essentially Pot of Greed. So they like to stop this, they'll imperm it, they'll Veiler it, at which point you can chain its other effect, which is when a punk monster is targeted for an attack or card effect, draw 1 card. So it's pretty good for that. You're still getting value off it, even if they're negating it. They're losing a card, you're gaining a card, and you still have this body on the field, so it's good anyway. If it does resolve, get your Jam Extreme session. Soft once per turn, banish a punk from your graveyard, special one from your hand. So it's a very good extender. That's why I think it's worth playing 2, maybe 3. Just don't really have the room for it, to be honest. And then its really broken effect is this one's, you can only activate twice per turn, is if you pay life points to activate a psychic monster. It doesn't have to be a punk, it can be Psychic End Punisher. You get to draw a card, so that's why it's Pot of Greed basically. Then moving on to the last 2 punk cards that I play in the main deck. 1 Madam Spider, 1 Dangerous Gaboo. So this, just like Wagon, pay 600, but this adds a trap instead, and adds your Gaboo. This other effect is if you target an opponent's face-up monster, you can half its attack as a quick effect. And this is imperm, but if you have a punk monster, you gain life points, which can be a little bit awkward, which is why the combo that I play, if it's ending on any punk monsters, it's normally just a copy of your Shirakuzai, which you're getting off the board before you're activating this. But yeah, because the life points can be a bit awkward, because despite not playing the Gold Pride, you do want to be lower life points than your opponent to get Psychic End Punisher as big as possible. So that's the punks. Now for the cards that everyone's waiting for, the ones that people go, wait, this deck still exists? Yeah, we're playing Therions, so I'm going to go through them one at a time, and I'll go through them in the order that you actually get them in the combo, which would be like this. So, you got your Lily Barrier, which you send to graveyard with a card from the extra deck. So all the Therions, they share an effect. They can either equip a Therion from your grave, or whatever their same type is. So a plant, however, the only one, you're never really resolving that in this deck, because they're all different types. Unfortunately, none of them actually match your Therions, because we've got plant, machine, reptile, and aqua, which none of your punk cards are. This has the second effect where... they also share the second effect where if a Therion, like say this is equipped to another Therion, that Therion monster gains the second effect of Lily, and like with all the rest and so on. So for this one, you can send a card from your hand or field to the grave to search for a Therion spell trap. But before you send that, you'll be searching using the Sargus XZ monster. You'll be searching for your Regulus. Everyone knows what Regulus does. So you'll be summoning it out like that, and then you'll send this to the grave, grab your Disc Coliseum, and then this is where, like, in the combo I'll talk more about it. But yeah, search for your Disc Coliseum, which has 3 really good effects. First one is on activation, searches for another Therion monster. Then it has the effect of if one of your monsters will be destroyed by battle, you can send a Therion from deck to grave to prevent that, and that doesn't activate. It's a bit like Dingasu or Balinx or any other protection type effect. So that effect is if a monster is destroyed by battle, and this doesn't just have to be your monster, it can be your opponent's, you can add a Therion back from the grave. So I am tempted to run this at 2. But again, like I said, I don't want to put this deck list over 40. There's so many cards I'd love to run at more, but it would just make it it's so inconsistent because you want to see those 12 starters, and you don't want to reduce the chance of not seeing them by any means, really. Then your two targets for this are the two that people probably won't know. So Empress, this is the one that I'm mainly going to. But you can sometimes go into this as well. This is nice follow-up. This is really bad going second, though. This doesn't do anything really going second because it has to be on your opponent's turn. So the unique effect of these two is for Empress, she can send a card from your hand to the graveyard to summon a Therion from your spell and trap zone. And Reaper, as a quick effect on your opponent's turn, can target a Therion in your spell and trap zone and a card your opponent controls and return them both to hand. So it's really good for that. If I'm up against back row decks, I'll get this as the monster that you make using this effect. Doesn't do as well in the back row decks, but I didn't go against any of them. So that's my Therion engine. Just those, just these 5 cards here. Moving on, something a bit unique. I kind of wanted to get 10 access. So I'm playing 2 unicorns and a birth, which came up really, really well and had my funniest interaction of the event, which was I had to activate this and normal summon the Therion Reaper, because Reaper is a level 7 monster. So I played this over Fenrir's. My reasoning is a lot of people, they assume if you're summoning if you're summoning Fenrir first, regardless of whether it's Kashtira or not, if it's not, if their thought process is this isn't Kashtira, I don't need to worry about this. I don't need to hand trap the Fenrir. Or if they do think I'm on Kashtira, they'll go, oh, his hand can't be that great if his first play is summon Fenrir. Unicorn, however, people associate that with like pretty much just Kashtira, maybe Speedroid, something like that. But yeah, it gets you 2. This still gets you 2 bodies, so Fenrir gets you an extra card in hand. This gets you access to Barone, and then you can bring this back. And I honestly value the extra deck rip way more than I value the banishing a monster. I just think the information you get is infinitely better, and actually helped me win against a cash player game 2 of round 1. And the birth's nice. The second effect never came up. I only really set this up against the cash tier, funnily enough, and there was just never a case where I could use it. It would ever actually mean anything. So yeah, so that was that. So we do have plenty of room left. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spaces. I guess there's technically 14 if you count the 3 from the Kashtira package. So this can be whatever you want, really. It's locals dependent, I guess, or event dependent. But yeah, I played for this event anyway. I played 1 Ogre. It's searchable off one of the extra deck monsters. So you don't need to play more than 1. Did search a few times as well. And it won me a couple of games. Especially against Sprite. His hand was really bad and he could only get to Gigantic, and I just Ogred it. Ash Blossoms, you know, it's a good card. I then played where are they gone? There they are. 3 Palms, again, really good card. Effect Veil is just not as good this format because of cash. I was expecting more cash. I believe there's only 1 player on cash. And well, they play Shifter. He did shifter me once. I actually won the game that he shifted me because he misplayed and he ripped the wrong card out my extra deck. Then Book of Moon, I'm going to be taking this card out. In theory, it's to play around Imperm and Vela because you really want your what's it called? Your Ziaman to resolve. You need that to resolve basically to play. It never came up, and when it did come up, the only times I actually drew it were I can't even remember. I think it was like it just didn't matter. Like it didn't do anything. So these will be getting replaced with talents. because there was multiple times where I was just like, I wish I had talents. My opponent would Ash the Armor and I'd have no other player, something like that. And then the 40th card, Called By. Again, we need the Armor to resolve. At one point, I was playing the Crossout Designators. I found they just like you have to put really awkward ratios for that, and then it feels really bad if they play a hand trap that you don't have. So that's the main deck. 40 cards, like I said. I think it was really, really good. Other than the Book of Moons, I wouldn't change anything about them, not without going over 40 cards, which I feel like is just an awful thing to do in a combo deck like this. So moving on to the extra deck, playing the one Rising Carp, nice little combo piece. So what he does is he needs 2 punks, and he tributes himself to summon 2 from the deck. So he E-Tele for 2. So he basically lets you really awkward levels, like 2 level 3s that you've got, level 3 and a level 8, and he guarantees you a level 8 synchro, which is really, really good. Also, if he's sent from field to grave, he can target a punk. If he's sent for a synchro material of a punk, target that punk. It can attack twice, which does come up, which I'll talk about later on. Again, in the combo. 1 Jam Dragon Drive. Unsummon, which is special summon, not synchro summon, so if it comes back from the grave, pay 600, either add or send a level 3 psychic from deck to grave. Not really sure why you would send, when adding is just way, way better. There's no real, unless there's some janky non-punk target, I don't know. But that's other effect is, if your opponent responds to a punk card while this is in your grave, you can summon it back, so it's really, really good for that. Gives you an extra body. It's 27, so it's pretty big. The other 2 ones are 2 copies of Amazing Dragon. And the name says it all. It is absolutely amazing. I think it was one of the best cards in the extra deck. Really, really good for going second. I'd sometimes make this on my opponent's turn with Sharakuzai, even if I was making it on my own. Yeah, so what it does is, on Synchro Summon, it targets cards your opponent controls up to the number of level 3 psychics with different names on your field and in your grave, and it returns them to hand. And then its other effect is you can target a punk in your graveyard, accept itself, and summon it. But you can only use one of those effects per turn, which is why it's really nice to summon this on your opponent's turn, bounce, and then you can reborn any of your other punks. So, and we played 2 of them, cost 2. It didn't come up during this event, but in testing it does. Other ones, this is where it gets a bit funny. A lot of people laughed when I summoned this. Thought I was just playing some sort of pile. Diablantis, the Menacing Mantis. On Synchro Summon, he Foolish Burials a plant or an insect. And, well, what would you know? But Lily Borea is a plant. So this card replaced the Chaos Dragon Pepega Ruler, whatever its real name is. And to be honest, in this deck it's actually better, because Gamma doesn't exist anymore, so it's absolutely fine for that. And then it has another effect, which is it can target any plant or insect, and it becomes a tuner until the end of the turn, which is, if you know what a level 8 tuner synchro monster is, it ends up with a lot of funny shenanigans, which I want to talk about in a minute. Ones that I don't need to talk about, though, Psychic End Punisher and Barone. Absolutely insane, both of these. This card, I won every game that I summoned it, 100%. It just instantly wins games. There is an OTK that involves this. And then obviously Barone is Barone. If you're playing a synchro deck that can make 10s, you're kind of silly for not making it. But speaking of silly, using that level 8 tuner monster and another level 8 monster, you can summon Zulkan. Yes, that's a funny thing this can do. Never came up this event, but because of the room in the extra deck, I have not one target in Crystal Wing, but also Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, which summoning off this never came up, but I did actually summon this against Kashtira, which helped me get to basically Psychic End Punisher, which got me game. But yeah, really, really good. in theory when these actually come up in test. The locals I had before, which was a really small locals, I think it was literally just a 2-round locals because there was only 4 of us. This actually came up almost every game because what you do with this is if you already draw the Regulus, you make this instead of going into your Sagas, which I'll talk about in a minute. Which then, if you've done the full big combo, it grants you access. You already have like a trap, so you've got a guaranteed card to set. Speaking of the Sagas, one Sagas, again, made him almost every game. Super powerful. Once per turn, as long as he has material, you can search for a Therion's or a Springen's card, so you can search for whatever missing piece you're after. He's also generic 8 as well, as being able to be made by overlaying him on top of Springen's XZ monster, which if you saw my Springen's deck list, which you should go check out, it's on my channel, go watch it, go give that a like and comment as well. You'll know just how powerful this card can be. And its other effect is if another XC monster attaches material, you can target a card and either pop it or bounce it. And I was thinking, a lot of other lists that I saw, they were all playing Felgrand XE monster, which detaches a material as a quick effect to make a card. Its effects are negated, but it's unaffected by everything else. And I kind of felt like that wasn't worth the like 15 quid that it would have been to buy that one card. One thing I found that not only is it a lot cheaper, I personally think it's a lot better, is Teardrop the Ricker Queen, which can detach a material to tribute opponent's monster. Well, any monster on the field, but you're going to do it to your opponent's monster. And if it has a plant as material, it's a quick effect, which again, Lily Borea is a plant, so you can use her. And then if each time a monster's tributed against 200 attacks, or if you use it on your turn, you can swing for 3,000. Then other XCs, Hope Harbinger, never played. There was a Pally player, never played against him, so never made this. Zeus, never made this, but again, you can't cut these. These are mandatory, probably more so than the Teardrop, despite me thinking this is way better. But yeah, Zeus just never came up. Every opportunity that I really had, I could just either OTK or break their board, stuff like that. The last one is Crush Sheep. I love this guy. Look at him. Look how nice and shiny he is. This little boy, he deserves an ulti. Give him an ulti. I'd buy an ulti Crush Sheep if they made him. And I guess for those of you who don't know what he does, because he's not as popular as he used to be, the only effect that really comes up is so he gets different. If a monster's summoned to his zone, you can activate different effects depending on what he's pointing to. So Ritual is draw 2, discard 1. XZ is your opponent's monsters lose 700. Synchro is your monsters gain 700, and the one that's relevant to this deck is Fusion. Summon a level 4 lower monster from your graveyard. This is basically what enables the OTK. This little cute 700 attack monster. And then just before the combo, what we're going to do is we're going to show you the extra deck, side deck. Not too thingy. I don't think there's any cards that are really wild and out there. But yeah, just sort this out again. There we go. So because we're not in a super heavy combo format, the only cards that I have for combo are Nibiru. Nibiru's pretty good. It helps those rogue decks as well. Never sided this in though. Evenly Matched and Cosmic for back row hit. Funnily enough, this won me game 3 against a Sprite player. No, it's game 3, because he kept everything but double cross, and I don't think he knew that double cross doesn't do anything with no other card on the field. Branded, I did play against Branded. However, I went first game 1, he went first game 2. Never had a reason to side this in. If we went to a game 3, 100% this would be what I would be siding for. Final card, bit of spice. Well, not if you've seen cash lists, but enemy controller. Especially if you go on the Zulkan line, you can just tribute Zulkan. No one cares. Like, it doesn't serve any other purpose once it's summoned your Crystal Wing, really. But yeah, that's it for the main extra inside. So I'll quickly show you the combo. So what we need is we need a Z-Armon for this, and then we just need any random card. So I'll grab Book of Moon, and I'll show you what the end board's like. I'll just adjust this to be a bit further out, so we've got some more wiggle room here. So the first one I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you a going first combo, and then I'm going to show you an OTK combo, which OTKs through one monster, and then if you've got any other cards, that helps you break boards as well. So you summon your Z-Armon, you pay your 600, which will allow you to grab your Foxy Tune. You'll then discard your Foxy Tune, and then for cost, send that. Then for effect, you'll get rid of your Book of Moon. Here, it kind of splits into two, depending on what you want to do. To be honest, during this event, because I quickly learned I needed to play a lot safer because there was a lot more hand traps than there normally is at my locals. So for this event, I went a lot through D-Note. Doesn't really change much. It just adds a few extra steps, and you get one less card. But for this, I'm just gonna go straight for the one card, straight for the more powerful combo. So you'll summon your Shirakuzai. You'll then pay your 600, and this is if you've got no other cards in hand. Let's say you've been, I don't know, something happened. Your opponent's got no interaction whatsoever. They've, however, hand ripped you for 4, and then you drew one of these. So you then fusion summon, and you'll go into your Rising Carp. Activate Rising Carp, tribute itself, which will summon a copy of your D-Note, and for going fast, you want your Madam Spider, bring them down here. Madam Spider's effect, pay another 600, which is why it's really good if you've got the field spell, because you'd have 2 extra cards drawn to grab yourself a Dangerous Gaboo. Here you'll Synchro Summon, not into your Dragon Drive, but into your Diablosis, which will then trigger Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 here. Depending on your locals, you can choose whatever. If you didn't go the Shirakuzai line, you kind of have to target the Foxy Tune, which is a bit awkward because it makes you susceptible to Bestials. So to play around Bestials for this line, which is why I normally at my locals go for this, because we have a lot of the only hand traps we really have is Bestials, because we have a few branded players. So you summon back your Rising Carp here, and then from your deck you will send your Lilyboria. And then again, if you already have the Therion, here you would make the Satuna, and you would go into your Zulkan, and then you would set this to summon Crystal Wing and continue your plays from there. But we're just playing with the 2 cards, so you're going to overlay. And when was the last time you saw a Synchro and a Fusion being used to overlay into an Xyz monster? You'll then activate the Sargus effect. Sargus will grab you your Regulus. Then you'll activate your Regulus, and you will equip your Lilyboria, which you will then activate Regulus using the effective set for Spell Trap of Lilyboria and sending the Lilyboria specifically. Very, very specific that you do that. Agitus Colosseum, activate it, we'll put it up here, and then you will grab your Empress. Then here, you'll activate Empress again. You'll do this. Again, you'll have more cards in hand, so technically you do need 2 discards for this. I guess we'll say we had another random card. We have another random card here. So, Empress effect, discard the call by, summon this. At this point, you're protected by this, it's fine anyway. And then you will overlay into your Teardrop. And this is your end board. You'll still have 2 other cards in hand, so these could be hand traps, they could be follow-up, E-Telly, something like that. And this board doesn't look, obviously you'll set your Dangerous Gaboo as well. So this board It doesn't look as scary as it actually is. A lot of people don't realise that. So what you've got here is you've got an Omni Negate. You have a quick effect Tribute, which then has a quick effect Pop or Bounce, depending on what's more efficient. You've got an Imperm. You've got 2 cards in hand. All of these monsters are protected because you've still got a Therion in deck. And if they do, you've negated this. Let's say they use 2 monsters that do eventually be over your Teardrop. You then activate the field spell's other effect, and you grab back your Regulus. So again, for the next turn, you'll draw for turn 4 cards in hand, including a Regulus, which is live. You got your Sargus, which then can search for your other ones, stuff like that. So then I'll quickly go over the next combo. So I need that. I need an E-Telly. And I'll put everything back in the deck, and I'll show you the quick OTK combo that can go through through a monster very, very easily. If there's no monster, it's still game. But yeah. So this second combo requires if they have no monsters, Xiamen does it itself. If they have one, you do need the E-Telly here. So what we're going to do is with both. So we're going to normal summon. Again, I'll put it in so you can see it. Activate effect. So it does look very similar to the first one. So we'll grab Foxy Toon. Okay. Again, so 2-card combo plus X random card. But again, you're going to have 6 cards in hand. Maybe 5 or 4 if you've used hand traps. But you will still have this. So this. Then we'll E-Telly out here. We will E-Telly for let's just say we'll grab this. In fact, do you know what? We don't need this extra card actually. We don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Shirakuzai's effect to fuse, pay 600 using these 2. Again, go into the fish boy himself right here, and then we'll activate its effect, tribute for cost, summon out Wagon and Dino, activating Wagon's effect, paying 600 because we want to reduce our life as much as possible. And then here we're not actually going to synchro summon. What we're going to do, and I'm going to do it this way. You can use either either Tuna Monster, but you're going to link summon into your cross sheep there. So this will then trigger your Deonote, and Deonote will bring back your Carp to a zone that cross sheep points to, and then that will bring back Xiamen, and you want specifically Xiamen for its second effect. Then what you'll do is you'll synchro summon, and this is where you'll go into your Amazing Dragon. And again, you don't use its first effect here. You're not using its effect to bounce, unless you have more extenders in your hand, stuff like that. Because you want to use its second effect. So then you'll use its second effect, and you want to bring back the Carp again. And this time you're going to synchro summon again. And because this deck just for some reason doesn't lock you into anything, we'll summon Psychic End Punisher. We'll then activate its effect, targeting, let's say they do have a monster, targeting cross shape. We'll get rid of that. So now what we have on board here is Psychic End Punisher. You've paid, what will that be, like 2,800 you'll have paid here, I think. 6, 12, 18 plus 1,000, yeah, 28. So this will be getting 2,800. This is on 3,600 because when Xiamen goes to the graveyard, it boosts by 600, and it can attack twice because of Rising Carp being used to make it. So, yeah, so here is well over lethal, and even over a couple of small monsters, this is well over lethal as well. So it's a really, really good combo, all off of just 2 cards there. And again, you could have gone even further if you had more extenders in your hand, something like that. You've got the Jam Session, which you should have really activated, because then when you would have activated Psychic and Punisher, you'd use its effect, draw a random card. But yeah, so that's it, guys. I know a bit of a longer video here. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, sorry I'm a bit down under the weather. I probably have caught it from this event, but oh well. But yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever time it is for you. I'd love it if you'd liked, comment, shared, subscribed, whatever. Let me know what you liked about the deck. Let me know what you hated. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.